Yeah, we both had to figure that out on our own. I think most people that learn how to think do it on their own.
I actually would say I got a good I my formal education in college like helped me out a lot.
Mine did not at all.
But I would say that my experience was unique because I sought it out.
Yeah.
Like you could definitely take purely just information disseminating courses, and I chose not to.
Hmm. I guess my philosophy classes in college helped a little, like a teeny tiny bit. I learned about Socrates and the Socratic method in philosophy, and that helped. But it took me a long time after that before I really learned how to apply it properly.
Okay.
So, I mean, maybe there was a tiny little, but it took me just after college, just figuring it out.
Right.
Just figuring it out on my own. And fortunately, like, the internet helped. Without the internet, I don't know if I would have been able to do it. But
especially knowing most local public libraries in the country.
yeah, and I'm one of those people that enjoyed going to the library. I guess when I moved out of my parents' house is around the time I started using the library. Like as a kid, I didn't go to the library. Like that wasn't a thing we did.
Oh, okay.
But when I moved out to like my own place, like I started using the library, and like I loved it. I would go there a lot, and I made it a point to just try to read different books that were sort of outside of the usual that I might otherwise get. I really enjoyed it, and I don't know, maybe that was a small component. I'm trying, like, I can't think of any books right off the top of my head that were about how to think, but all the information you take in, I think, is good for you, and especially if it's diverse. So, but yeah, like if you waste a lot of time in school, like makes me upset and annoyed because it's how you create a culture full of dumbasses.
Right.
Not only are they not learning how to think, but they're like sitting around on bleachers, not confessing their sins, or going to pep rallies, or a lot of kids duck out early with an excuse because they have to fucking do like some sort of band thing, or
oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
I thought you were gonna say like what I used to do, which is once I turned 18, I could sign myself out of school for being sick.
Oh, wow.
And if you stayed for we had a 7-period day. If you stayed for 5 periods, it counted as a full day. So after I'd go to finish 5th period of class, eat lunch, and fucking go home.
Did anybody ever notice that you just kept signing yourself out every day for?
Yeah.
And
the office ladies, they kind of thought it was funny after a while. They couldn't stop me legally because I was 18. But it was one of those things where it's like they're like, there were certain names they knew in the office because they were either the bad kids or the kids who just fucking sign themselves out all the time.
Well, I mean, you can still get your diploma, so who gives a shit, right? I mean, that's what you probably thought.
I graduated, yeah. I got great grades, and I still had a lot of full days.
So you weren't trying to put one over on anybody. You're like, yeah, I'm milking this system. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, I'd just go home, take a massive shit, and watch cartoons. Like, that was actually part of the scheme, is I just didn't want to shit at the school bathrooms.
Yeah.
And I lived like a mile from school, so I just walked home.
Yeah, the whole shitting in the school toilet thing was also a thing for me. Fortunately, like, I just happened to be built like a camel, so it was never really an issue.
A shit camel?
Yeah. Like, I can just drink pitchers full of beer and not have to piss. And, like...
I thought you were going to say not have to shit. I was going to have to say I'm not impressed.
Well, I'm just saying I'm very much like a camel in many ways. I can go for a long time without drinking any water. I can pour down a few pitchers of beer and not have to piss. And... I just happened to be built so that I didn't have the urge to take a shit in school most of the time. So,
that's handy.
And I just, I'm a big guy and I can just hold it for a long time. So, but yeah, my thought was like, ew, it's gross. Like, who the hell knows what's on these toilet seats? Mm-hmm. We did have a crap smearer in our school.
Nice.
So that wasn't helpful at all. And
that is much more common than I realized. Like, the older I've gotten and the more like... Because when my wife was in college, she was an RA, and they had a crap smear on their floor, and I remember going, "Oh, what the fuck? That's so messed up." And then, like, as I've told like the crap smearing story, people are like, "Yeah, we had one at our school," and I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, where the shit did all these craps mirrors come from?
Yeah.
Like, I did not realize this was a common thing that, in the 20th century, people are still, like, in the middle of the day at their, institutional education place. They just are like, oh, I'm going to smear my shit on the walls and just, clean up after, wash the hands.
Yeah, there's probably a name for it, like some Latinized name or something that means...
Shit smearer.
I mean, shit smearer.
Right.
But
because you just can't write that in somebody's chart. Like,
we had a few...
Shit smearer, underlined.
I've encountered a few shit smearing incidents. We had a crap smearer, and I knew who it was years later.
Oh, really?
He confessed. And there was somebody...
Did he mean to confess? Or was it kind of like, we caught you?
No, he wanted to come out and, like, I guess just get it off his chest.
Right.
It was like in 11th or 12th grade. Like, we'd grown up, and he didn't give a shit anymore, I guess. Yeah. And he sort of maybe wanted a little attention. I'm not sure. And it had been, like, from, like, when we were, like, kids. So it was years... I don't know what his motivations were, right. But I've encountered some various crap incidents which reinforce your hypothesis about it being a thing.
Right.
Somebody took a dump in, I think I was in 3rd grade, and somebody took a dump right in the middle of the boys' room floor, and like the teachers were like sorting through the hall passes that day, trying to figure it out. I don't know if anybody ever did figure out who it was.
We definitely had a urinal deucer in elementary school.
Yeah, what the fuck? This is like people in their shit, just so common. The movie theater I worked in, there was somebody that smeared shit like on the stall wall, and
yikes!
That was like just what the fuck. What the fuck? I think they were writing and shit. It wasn't just smearing.
Wow, that's taking it to the next level.
It looked sort of like hieroglyphics. So it was like, I think they were attempting to write something.
There's a little bird and an eye and some wavy lines.
A guy going like this.
Right, yeah. That's good radio, Jason.
What is this?
What, the
I'll bet you. I was going to say, I'll bet people would know what I meant, though. I'll bet you, the listeners, when I said going like this, talking about hieroglyphics.
Maybe.
I'll bet you. But yeah, the Egyptian move, the
walk like an Egyptian.
The walk like an Egyptian move with one hand up and forward and one hand down and back. So yeah, I'll bet you it's like I think the word like the root word for shit based things is copra.
Yeah,
and
that's the Greek, yeah.
Whatever the word for like smearing or writing would be.
Coprographia.
Trademark that.
It was invented by the Phoenicians.
Who oddly enough taught us how to engage in coprographia and spell phonetically.
Oh yeah. The alphabetic coprographia is much more efficient than a logographic system.
Now, this isn't to be confused with, I guess, copra numeracy or copra numerology or
copromancy.
Copra numera. I don't know. But yeah, there's what the fuck were we? I had a point to this. Shitting in school.
Smearing and
shitting in school. So the other reason I didn't do it is because there was like a whole bunch of people that I like knew like just like to fuck with people.
Okay.
And like I was not gonna put myself in any sort of vulnerable position.
Yeah.
Like we had a lot of fuck with you type people in school. And like they would probably not be above just kicking the door in while you're taking a dump and just like punching you in the face or something and then running off.
That would be enough for me not shit school.
Or they would just dump like a bunch of water over the wall or something while you're in there. You know, not putting myself into that position. So
good idea.
I actually feel really bad for kids like having to go through that, and there's like nothing that gets done. But you know,
true. The thing that you reminded me of though, that it seems like is people are sort of getting rid of it a little bit, or people are doing a good job of editing it or covering it up is public restroom graffiti.
Haven't really been keeping up on the public restroom graffiti end, but tell me.
I never learned to appreciate it until college. And that's when I developed my goal of shitting in every building on campus. Because every time I was somewhere and had to take a dump, like the graffiti would be great. Just the funniest shit people wrote on the walls in my college for whatever reason.